Hey, if you're like me, you've probably read this book by Robert Kiyosaki called Cash Flow Quadrants. I absolutely love the book. In the beginning of that book, there's a great story about pipeline versus buckets. And it's talking about water, and Robert uses the reference of wealth building in that scenario. But I want us to keep that perspective when we're looking at building our pipeline for opportunities as well too. I want to create systems that allow us to have this steady flow of incoming opportunities and not require us to invest our time into it. So let's jump right into this. Let's build ourselves a pipeline of opportunities. Hey, my name is Brett Riggins, co-founder of Physician Wealth Systems. By this time, you've probably seen me in some other videos. You know that I've dedicated the past 15 years of my life to purchasing and selling real estate and also building my own passive income portfolio. Now I want to share that stuff with you. So we're talking about step number 3 now, building deal flow pipelines. And this is step 3 of 6 that you can find in a book that we wrote called How to Get Rich as a Doctor. This 6-step process is going to allow you to go from 0 to 12 rental properties in just 12 months. Yes, there's going to be a lot to it. Yes, there's going to be a lot of time put into it. But this is the process that we use to implement to make that possible for you. So let's dive right into this. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to build a pipeline that allows us to have this steady flow of off-market real estate deals or even on-market deals that are 30 to 70% below market value? First, we have to keep in mind that we're building a pipeline and not searching for one single deal. We also have to look at the deal sources. Where are we going to get these from? We have to know what our buy box is or our buy window, what specific deal we're looking for. We need to know the required information that we're asking in order to analyze the deal. We need to be able to analyze the deal. And in that, I need to be able to look at this right away and get a quick review. I don't want to be spending all my time on deals that aren't deals. I need to know what a CMA is, comparative market analysis, and also how that's generated and why. And then the 6 major deal inputs that we use to analyze the deals. Ultimately generating that maximum allowable offer. We call it the MAO or the MAO. And I want to give you some resources that you can implement to take action on these items. All right, pipeline versus deal. What am I talking about? Well, when you go out and get one deal, we can invest a little time in that. But let's invest a little more time out front and build some equity in relationships. And that's going to build a pipeline of opportunities. And I talked about before in building your market resources, building your team is leveraging relationships, leveraging other people's experience and leveraging their time. That's going to play a key role in this. I want you to create a new Gmail account. And this is something I want to give you these steps that allow you to keep things straight. And then ultimately, I also want you to be able to learn, implement, and outsource. I think it was Michael Gerber's book, E-Myth, though I learned that process. And so learn, implement, and outsource. Start right out of the gate by creating a new Google Gmail account for investing. That way, all of our new contacts, all of our new emails or things are going into this new email in one location. And I want you to fire yourself and hire a virtual assistant as we get going. That way, you don't have to check your emails. You don't have to respond. The virtual assistant can do that, and your personal stuff is going to be separate. So that's one thing. Get started right away on that. How would it feel to have a steady flow of off-market investment deals coming to your inbox? Steady flow. That happens. That's going to be the first thing that's happening. Remember to keep the end product in mind when you're developing the system. Again, this is a pipeline. I'm building this for passive income, and I want a system that allows me to be passive in it as well too. So where are we getting these deals from? Where are the sources? Well, you may have heard me talk about us, Connect Home Buyers, the nationwide real estate acquisition company that we have, and the way that we are direct to seller and how we did that. When I first started, we were using bandit signs, handwritten, going up at nighttime. Wow, that brings back some memories. I made this stapler thing, so we stapled them up to poles and all kinds of stuff. Oh, that puts a smile on my face. Direct mail, again, we were handwriting them. And then we moved into fulfillment companies that were producing those for us, and eventually into automated written hand or automated machine written direct mailers. Very interesting stuff. Cold calling. At one time we had I think like 12 or 14 cold callers. And text messaging. At one time we were sending 35,000 text messages every single day. SEO and PPC. SEO is search engine optimization, and PPC is a pay-per-click. And when we were fully engaged in the real estate acquisition nationwide, we had, I think, 12 team members at the time, and we were spending six figures every month in marketing. That is a big ordeal. There's a lot of work in that. I'm not suggesting you do that, but that is the typical way of doing it. And you can still go out and get deals that way as well too. Another way we get deals is networking. You remember when I talked to you about building your market resources, make sure you're asking them not only who do they know or who should I know or who are they working with, but hey, do you happen to have any deals that I could buy right now? Always throw that question out there. Meetups, meetup.com was something. I don't know how many people still go to that, but you can find Facebook groups that will have events like REIs. I actually started them in the smaller areas that I was in Southwest Michigan back in the day. There were no REI groups, real estate investor groups, so I started them, and I built a lot of relationships out of those groups. But that's where we can find deals. Wholesalers will be in there, flippers will be in there where maybe a deal doesn't quite work for them, that kind of thing. Social media is huge. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the real estate investor or investment groups specifically. And then estate sales. There's lots of things. I could go on for a whole hour about this alone, but if you're driving and you see an estate sale, you have the time, stop in and talk with them. Most of the time, if they're selling everything in the house, it's likely that the house is going to be sold too. And you can say, hey, I'm actually interested in purchasing the house if you considered selling it, right? Everyone needs to know you're a real estate investor. You need to start talking about things. I was actually getting my hair cut yesterday, and I was speaking with the stylist, and we just started talking. And I noticed that her interest was in reading, and she started talking about real estate, and then I started talking about real estate, and just on and on. So if you start talking about the things that you want to do, then it will become apparent in your life. You'll just like almost speak it into existence, kind of thing. MLS is another deal source for us, multiple listing service, and again, working with your team real estate agent to get this done is really important. 90-day drips are what I love. Ooh, boom, 90-day drip. So you'll get your buy box to your agent, and we'll set this up so as that properties are on the market for 90 days, that 90-day, boom, it hits this automation to where you're getting an email once every week, and you can look at these deals who are sitting on the market, and those are the ones that I like to go after. Wholesalers are a huge piece of acquiring residential real estate. There's some that do multifamilies as well too, but we're going to really dive into this. I like the wholesaler piece. And like I mentioned just a little bit ago, Connect Home Buyers, our nationwide real estate acquisition company, started out fix and flip, and then we moved into wholesaling. And wholesaling is assigning contracts. We're going to talk about this. This is a great place for you to leverage them because they are the ones spending millions of dollars every month direct to seller, and their product is the piece of paper they're selling you to acquire the property. So why not let them do the work? Wholesalers sell the paper, which is actually the purchase sale agreement or the contract, and not the house. They never actually take title to the house. Their interest is in the paper and then collecting the assignment fee and moving that along. That works out perfect for us because we can then have them do the front end work, and then we can pay them the assignment fee, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, whatever it may be. As long as our numbers work, we can pay them and we don't have to do that work. Investor Lift is a great platform. In the resources section, you'll see I'll put some information in on that. Investor Lift is a platform that allows you to receive deals from other wholesalers nationwide. Buy box. The buy box or buy window is basically your criteria of what you're looking for. I'm going to show you what we look for personally. This may change per market, and it may change for you and your investment strategies as well too. This tells us what a deal is, right? And the parameters of the house itself. So in certain areas, you need to know, the type of house that may be renting out better, what kind of rent that specific house is getting. And I know there's generalities of houses that we won't look at, like pools. I won't look at that. But this buy box tells me exactly what I'm looking for. It's easy to communicate in with the team when we're talking about it that way. The buy box, I think you could also consider as your investment scenario too. So if we talk about what is a deal, well, I need to know what my parameters of return look like, right? What is my return on investment, ROI? What cash invested am I looking for? What risk am I able to tolerate? Those kinds of things. I'm going to share what I have, and again, you figure your own, but this is what we work off of. This is what works well with us, and I know I have a lot of other investors that fit right in this pocket too. Market specific. So house specifications. So the market will drive your buy box in certain areas. So Memphis is going to be a little different than Jacksonville, maybe a little different than Dallas. So you got to figure out where you're buying, what types of houses are there, what types of houses are selling, what types of houses are renting, and all of that. So these are the parameters of our decisions. The pool I was telling you about is an automatic disqualifier. I also have a list of this that you can find in the resources as well. These are the automatic disqualifiers. If the house has these, A, B, or C, then I'm not even looking at the deal. Just generally speaking, the pool, I don't do cinder block houses. I don't do them on 4-lane roads. I don't do them next to highline wires. I don't do them next to schools. And what I'm looking to do is produce the highest rent possible in the market, and I'm also looking for a property that the insurance company is not going to have any issue holding a policy on. Keeping all of this in mind as I'm building out my solution, keeping the end in mind. One thing we talk about when we look at buy box is rent ratio, and rent ratio is the gross monthly rent divided by the after repair value. The after repair value could be your fair market value, that kind of thing. So this also ranges from what kind of investor you are to basically, when I say what kind of investor you are you full-time in it? Are you putting sweat equity into it? Are you finding the deals? Or on the other end of the spectrum, are you paying somebody else to do all of this? So that's going to affect your rent ratio. Rent ratio will also swing off of the type of neighborhood and neighborhood class. I talked about that in the market, finding your market too. Typically, the lower the neighborhood class, like if it's below that C plus range, typically you're going to have a higher rent ratio. And I'm talking like 1.2 and on. The first property I ever purchased, for a hold in this scenario, it's probably, I would probably put it around the C minus range. And I only paid $18,000 for the house. I put $15,000 in repairs, so I've got $33,000 in this house, and I bring in $900 every month. I think we just raised the rent this year, so it's probably closer to $1,000 a month. That's a massive return, but the tenant class is just a little bit different. I can have a beautiful house. I can I can qualify my tenants the best of my ability, but I cannot control what the neighbors are doing. So that's where the rent ratio will fluctuate. You can find areas where you have a super high rent ratio, but it's going to affect your tenant class, the situations, the challenges, all of that stuff your property manager is going to have to deal with. So generally speaking, we're looking for anything in the 0.8 to 1.2, depending on what kind of investor you are and the time that you're spending in the deals as well too. All right, so the numbers that we're looking for, we're targeting are 15% ROI. This is net for a financed single-family residential rental property. This net monthly cash flow of at least $200 requires less than $25,000 actual invested, or the down payment. We can get into that. It'll probably be a separate video, but when I say actual cash invested, when we buy these value add properties, we're actually going to force equity into them by making these repairs. And that's what we call air equity. On that top side, it's creating new value. Poof, you're making money out of thin air, right? Well, that air equity actually decreases our down payment. So when I'm running my deal analysis, I'm looking at actual cash invested. I want to make sure that I'm under $25,000 on this. I want to keep the principal loan amount down, and I want to keep my actual cash invested down. And in that process, we're hitting 15% ROI on the net. And for us, that includes we've got 5% vacancy, 5% holdback, and 10% property management. All of the other expenses required. I want to make sure that my net is at least $200 a month. All right. Required information for a deal analysis. This is also something you can find in the resources. I've actually built a questionnaire that we'll have wholesalers fill out for us. It's great. And this is the required information that my acquisition team needs to know, or that you need to know, to analyze a deal. And I'm building a process here that we can do this remotely. Remember, I'm keeping the end in mind. I want to build a passive, not only passive income, but a passive process as well too. Wholesaler with contact information. I'm going to buzz right through this stuff. Subject property, property type, number of units, the property have any structural problems, are there any title issues, occupancy. That's a huge one. You need to know if it's going to be vacant at close, or if the seller is, if it's leased up already, tenant in place it's called. That's huge something to know. Lease of the terms, if the tenant is in place, bedrooms, bathrooms, estimated square feet. Those three right there are massive when we're looking at comparative market analysis. We'll get that in a second. The age of the roof, the age of the furnace, age of the AC, age of the water heater, the windows, is the electrical and plumbing in good condition, and the estimated repairs required to bring this thing back. I like getting the seller's information on this stuff, and if they're not providing information on something, I'm assuming that it's okay, and make sure you have everything in writing. And then we can, if something's different after inspections, then I have something to communicate with them on. Ultimately, the price, the asking price, what is their suggestion of the market rent? I'm doing my own studies. I'm also building my perspective from their perspective as well too, because I want to be transparent. I want to make sure we have clear communication on this. What does the seller feel the after repair value is? Not that I have to have this, but again, great information to have to start the discussions if something is different. I see a lot of deals where a wholesaler may say, or a seller may say, this house is worth $200,000, but I've got it easy at $125,000. There's an issue there. How do we overcome that? Am I missing something? Can you show me where your comps are? Can you help me understand where the value is? Or they've got it at $1,000 a month of rent and I've got it at $750. Where are your comps? Please show me. I want to see this, right? The close date, which is really important. I also ask, what is the most important detail for the seller? To me, that's really important, because if they want to close fast, if they want to close long, if they want to leave some stuff behind, I want to make sure as a buyer I can accommodate that, bring them value for their discounted price. Google Drive or Dropbox linked pictures. Pictures are really important, and we talked about this briefly when we talked about building our market resources. We want to acquire these remotely, so I want to make sure I have accurate snapshot of the property in its current condition. And here's the pictures that I need to see in order to make that happen. You can see there's a video is helpful as well too, but the 4 pictures of the outside, again, just building that perspective of the existing condition of the property. Some of the last questions we asked: are they the current owner on title, or are they wholesaling the property? You're going to be able to feel out who is telling the truth. There's lots of things to watch out for when we're working with wholesalers. There's what we call so some wholesalers may not even have a property in contract. They may not have the legal right to market it. You'll see all kinds of stuff. Wholesalers, it does not take any money to do this out of the gate, although the good wholesalers are spending a lot of money. You just have to watch out. There's a lot of things to watch out for with that. When you're working with a good wholesaler, everything goes great. So this is a great question to understand if they're able to do this or not. Is the price flexible? I love asking that. Sometimes you can get a feel, and I'll show you in a minute here how pricing is figured for wholesalers. So you can kind of get a feel for the pocket. Ultimately, you have to use a number that works for you. Do you have a contractor? Always loving that. Do you have any other property manager resources? Do you have any other properties you could sell me right now? The deal analysis. Now we've got the required information. I want to show you how we look at deals and analyze, hey, is this a deal or not? The quick review process. So within the first minute, what I like to check is the zip code. Is it inside of my buy box? The location, because I've got the zip, is it on an okay street? The rent and the price, do these things line up? That's my first pop. So if I've got something that the all in is at 100,000 and I'm collecting 1,000 a month, that puts me at my 1:0 rent ratio. I would probably drop onto the next step of looking at it in Google Maps. What I like to do in Google Maps is drop into the street view and look around at the house. If you're going to see dilapidated, blighted properties, boarded up, people hanging out, it's not going to be the tenant class or the neighborhood class that works well in an investment property. So that first 1 minute is checking the zip and the location. Make sure that rent ratio aligns with your investment parameters or your buy box, and then jump down into Google Maps and spin around and take a look at it. After that, it's going to take some time to get through a process like this, but enable you to deal analyze the deal quickly. And you should be able to do this in about 10-15 minutes. We use a deal analyzer, which I'll show you here in a second. And PropStream is an amazing platform. And in the resources, I'll give you a link for that. You can get a 7-day free trial with that. But PropStream is a way that I can run comps. I can get property information. Who's the owner? Do they have other properties? It's awesome. On the CMA, it happens automatically inside of there. So I absolutely love PropStream. Zillow, I'll put some videos posted too on how we run comps or CMAs on Zillow. Zillow is absolutely free. Everybody has access to it. So within here, I can make my decisions. Ultimately, when I confirm my numbers, I'm confirming hard numbers with real comparative market analysis from the real estate agent. There it is, CMA. All right, comparative market analysis. And the reason why we run CMAs the same way that an appraiser does, because ultimately we are going to be borrowing from the bank, or we're going to be selling to somebody who is borrowing from the bank. The bank is going to hire an appraiser to use these specifications to mitigate their risk and tell them what the property is worth. Then we run the LTV, 80%, 75%, whatever it may be. But it's all back on the appraiser. How does the appraiser figure it? Exactly how we figure it. We're going to look at these things to figure this. Square feet, we're going to go plus or minus 20 of the subject property, the property we're looking at. The year built, we're plus or minus 10 years. So if it's 1945, I'm going back to 35 and 55, as long as that fits in my buy box. And bedrooms, bathrooms, each one we're plus or minus 1 on those. Sold in the last 6 months, 3 months, 1 month. The closer you get to your date of making your CMA, the better market feel you're going to have. Right now, with the interest kind of going all over, things shifting around, we've actually squeezed our CMAs down into 2 months currently to get a better snapshot or a cross section of where we're at currently. Same neighborhood, schools, type of road. This is really important to make sure we're comparing apples to apples. Do not cross busy roads. And when you're looking at a map, you can see where a busy road is. Typically, you can see shapes of the neighborhoods. Don't cross. Don't cross, and if you do, make sure you accommodate for it. I'd say don't cross. Ultimately, we're looking for 3 to 5 properties that we can find that match these. If there's not 3 to 5 properties within the time frame that you're looking at, it's probably not a deal. At that point, you're trying to make a deal. All right, and then we can, if we've got a good comp, what I call general adjustments, I can adjust these to basically, if there's an extra bedroom or an extra 100 square feet or 200 square feet or a garage, I can make these types of adjustments to make that equal out, to make it comparative. And that's going to be market sensitive. So you'll see this on, if you've ever looked at an actual appraisal before, this is exactly what you'd be looking at. Check the current listed and pending for reference as well. And we can do this in Zillow. I've also put together some videos for that as well too. So I like to see maybe what's my competition, or what other opportunities do I have, and who else is buying that day or within the 30 days on the pending properties as well too. Careful, pending does not mean it sold for that. It could go pending and it was listed at 200,000 and they may have accepted an offer at 150. You don't know that. These are only points of reference. The CMA is the actual sold, is what we buy from. Utilize this Zillow.com rental manager. I love this. You can see if you go there, it's a great way of building a comparative market analysis for rents. I love this website. Use this all the time. The paid version of rentalmeter.com also works well for market rents. The free version we've struggled with and haven't had a lot of great experience with it. So those are two great places to find where your market rent is. The 6 major deal inputs we're looking at when we're analyzing a deal. I'm going to go over these and then I'm going to show you my actual deal analyzer that we use to analyze deals. Rental income is huge. If I get a range from my team that's, say, 1,000 to 1,200, then I'm going to use 1,000 in there. And you can pull your ranges from the rental manager as well too. After repair value, and typically you're going to get a range from your real estate agent on this as well too. I'm going to use the bottom side of my range. Remember, stay conservative. Stay conservative. Purchase price. That is the asking price. Important, do not hesitate to lower the purchase price until the numbers work, no matter how far away from the asking price it is. This is not about feelings, this is about math. And I've worked with my acquisition team a lot about this, and it doesn't matter what somebody's asking. It doesn't matter. But we have to separate from that. We have to do the math, and I have to figure out, hey, what can I pay for this property? Then I go back and say, okay, this is what I can offer, or yes, that price works. You have to be objective in this piece. So take the purchase price right away. You can start with it in your deal analysis process, but don't tie you down to that. You can get in trouble. You can get emotional if you get tied down to that. Construction management plus repairs. My spreadsheet, I've automatically got my fees calculated for the project management as well too. And I've also have a tab where it builds out the repairs automatically as well too. So that's really important to have that included. And the loan to value, LTV. Typically I'll come out of the gate at 75%, but these are the things that I'm adjusting to get into that. So let me show you right quick. So here is our deal analyzer. This is something we've just gotten it reformatted coming up, and this is something that I've used for 7 years now. So those key things that we're looking at, you can see on this other side: the rental income, after repair, purchase price, construction management and repairs, and LTV. That's all on my front side. When I'm looking at a deal, there's my rental income, there's my after repair, there's my construction plus repairs, and there is my mortgage interest rate. There's my LTV as well too. My sheet figures everything. And again, if you go to the resources in the book, you can download our spreadsheet for free and get used to using it. I love about this is it tells me I've got it conditionally formatted, and my greens are the things I keep eyes on. I also keep eyes on this, the down payment. I typically like to keep it around 25 or under. And the debt service coverage ratio makes it attractive for the lender. So I absolutely love this deal analysis sheet, and you don't have to think. You can see it's got the repairs in there as well too. You don't have to think putting the numbers in. You don't have to feel, all right? But once you start adjusting, obviously there's some thinking that goes into that. There's experience that goes into that. And I can just adjust my repairs. I can adjust my after repair value. The sheet's going to figure everything out about this. If you like this, if you want to see it, go to the resources. You can download a sheet similar to this one. Maximum allowable offer. So we know what information we need. We got that information. We now have analyzed that information, and it's produced a maximum allowable offer for us. And in that spreadsheet, that is just the purchase price. We adjust that purchase price. That becomes our maximum allowable offer. What I want to tell you about is how we figure, as flippers and wholesalers, how we figure maximum allowable offer. So a flipper maximum allowable offer, MAO calculation. This means that I need to make an offer that includes my assignment fee and everything. So I know that the flipper, the fix and flip investor, is going to use this equation: the purchase price, or the asking price, times 0.7, and that gives us our equity split in there, minus the repairs, and then as a wholesaler, I need to subtract my fee. So I would pull out the assignment fee of $20,000. That means for this house that would be worth $135,000, needs $28,000 in repairs, for me as a wholesaler, my maximum offer would be $46,500. I would start under that and see if there's somewhere that we could meet, see if there's a way I could bring value to the seller in that scenario. The reason I want to show you this too is to give you this, remove the feelings from it, because I know as a wholesaler that I would go through this process. I know in certain markets that hedge funds would be purchasing in these markets. My Mayo calculation is much different for that hedge fund purchase. So I may have now, instead of using a 0.7 multiplier, I'll use a 0.9 multiplier. Now you can see same repairs, $28,000, same assignment fee, but now my maximum offer is $73,000. So if I'm a wholesaler and I direct a seller and I purchase this property for $46,500, but I'm also going to put it out on the market and make as much money as I can. So I would list that property for sale for $73,500. Now, why I'm telling you this is, as a wholesaler, I just bought this property for $46,000, right? I've got it listed for $73,000. Do not be afraid to offer the number that works for you, period. That's why I wanted to show you this. Don't get attached to the numbers, the offer, the purchase price. Do the numbers, do the math, that's it. There's no feeling, there's no emotion. How to find 30 to 70% under market value deals. We talked about building a pipeline, not finding each deal. We did that equity and relationships. We talked about deal sources, where they come from. We talked about buy box, what that specifically looks like. We talked about required information for the deal analysis. We even looked at the deal analysis. I showed you mine. You can actually download that as well too. What does a quick review look like? The first minute. We talked about CMAs. We also looked at the 6 major deal inputs. We talked about the maximum allowable offer. The resources. All right, so where do I start? I want you to start, first of all, the book is a great place to start. You can pick that up on Amazon. Another place to start grabbing deals, after you get your Gmail account, start in with a new account at investorlift.com. You can get that, and you can start seeing deals from these wholesalers and these other investors come to you right away. Facebook groups are great. Go into real estate investment or investor. Make sure it's real estate investment or investor. If you just go to real estate, you're going to get real estate agents and on-market stuff. PropStream is another great place to find data, and you can do CMAs on there. If you go to the resources page in the book, you can actually get the link for a free 7-day trial on there. Batch Leads, another great platform that we use. It's batchleads.io, and it's for data CMA. You can actually do direct to seller marketing on there as well too, with text messaging, cold calling, and direct mail as well too. The book, How to Get Rich as a Doctor. I should have put that one first on there. That's a great read. And it finished out around 125 pages. It's an easy read. There's so much more detail in the book than I'm putting into here for sake of attention. But go check that out. All these resources are there as well too. You can download all of this stuff. You can reach out to us as well. You can download the Deal Analyzer, the Cash Flow Focus, which I'll talk about later in the asset management step 6. The Market Management Spreadsheet, another resource we'll talk about in the asset management spreadsheet in the asset management step 6 video. 6 steps to leverage passive cash flow. There's a lot to these videos. I really appreciate you hanging around and sticking out with me. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, if we can help you at all. I want to do my best to download my brain into these videos in a manner that allows you to watch them at your time and at your pace. Hopefully help you build a stream of passive cash flow and allow you to practice medicine full time. Thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it.